Hi everyone, this is Ashanita and myself with Pradhan Embroidery Stores bring to you this very pretty rattle making cal, or you can say a baby toy making cal for this month. And this video is going to be based on this baby rattle toy that we have made together with the yarn from Pradhan Embroidery Stores. I'm going to talk about the yarn in a while. So this video is going to be of 3 parts, and in the 3 parts it's going to be like 1 video per week, so that you can finish off the baby toy along with the video series. And I hope that my videos are going to be helpful to you to make this cal happen, and I hope that you guys will participate in the cal. So Pradhan Embroidery Store sent me this beautiful yarn that is a new launch in their web page. You can check out the videos. They will be sending a link in their description box below, so where you can buy this yarn. This is an absolutely fantastic yarn. It is a 4-ply yarn. It's like very textured, and it's just so soft and very nice for making amigurumi toys. And I thought that I will be making a beautiful rattle out of this. And you can also find these rings in their store. This is a 2-inch ring. It's acrylic or plastic, but it's very nice in texture, and the finishing is just so smooth. It's very good for babies to hold and play with it. In the video, I'm going to show you how to make this baby toy, but if you don't want to add a ring to it, it's absolutely fine. You can always just make the baby head and just make a pipe kind of a thing to hold the toy with. Otherwise, if you want, you can use their rings. You can also use a 1.5-inch ring, but here I have used a 2-inch ring, which is very easy for a baby to hold and play with. So let's get started with the video series. In the first series, I'm going to show you how we can make this baby head. And also, if possible, I will be showing you how we can make the parts of the toy. So let's get started. Okay, so before I start with the video series, I just want to make sure, or I want to make clear that it's not mandatory that you use this yarn. It's not at all mandatory for the video series, but it's this yarn is perfect for amigurumis. That's all I can say about it. You can use any type of cotton yarn to make this toy, and it doesn't have to be a 4-ply also. If you want to use size 10 cotton, it's totally up to you. Even Gulera Softy is perfect for this kind of a project. But the thing is, if you don't use this thick of a yarn or a 4-ply yarn, what it does is that it makes the toy a little bit smaller. So to make this size of a toy, you need to use this yarn. You can also use anchor knitting cotton 4-ply, which is also perfect for such kind of a project. So it's not totally not mandatory. So for the project, you're going to need some cotton yarn of your choice. You're going to need a 2 or a 1.5-inch ring. You can use a wooden ring or a plastic ring, totally up to you. You're going to need a 3.5mm crochet hook, or according to your yarn, you can also use a 3mm crochet hook. You're going to need a rattle. This is a DIY rattle that I made. I will be showing you how to do this. If you don't get rattles in your area, it's totally up to you. You can buy it online, or you can make a rattle as easy as this one. And then you're going to need some fiber quill to stuff your amigurumi toys with. And that's all. Let's get started. Alright, to make this DIY rattle, what we're going to do is, I have taken a plastic ball which is pretty like flexible and it's very soft, and I have cut a piece out of this. Okay, so if you don't get a rattle in your local area, you do this. You open this up, just a small point, and you take these bells. These are very pretty, and you're going to just put them inside. 10 to 15 of them. Depends on how louder you need the rattle to be. So once you're done with this, I'm going to take my sellotape and I'm going to cut a small piece out of it. And then I am going to close this part with a piece of this sellotape. If you want it to be more secure, you can always add 2 to 3 layers so that the bells don't come out. And now when you move this, it creates a wonderful sound for your rattle. For this part of the video, we're going to learn how to make the head. This takes a lot of time, so you need to master the head first. We're going to complete the whole of the head. So I'm going to be using a white yarn because I want the next toy that I'm going to make to be a pretty fairer piece or a fairer toy. So I'm going to be using white as the body color. You will need a stitch marker or a safety pin, whatever you have, or just a piece of yarn to mark your stitches. And then you will also need a sewing needle or just a yarn needle. And you're going to need your DIY rattle and your yarn hook. And then let's get started. Yes, don't forget your fiber peel because that is very important. So let's get started. Make a magic circle. Go into the circle, pull up a loop and chain 1. Make 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Always make sure if you're using a thinner or a less width yarn, like a size 10 or something, use a smaller hook. Now once you're done with 6 single crochets, you're going to pull your magic loop and make this into a tight circle. Now onto the 6th chain, I want you to put your marker right here. Let me just zoom you in a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. Now, into the very first chain, I'm having a hard time getting into it. Yeah. Make 2 single crochets. Initially, we had 6 single crochets on the foundation row. Now we're going to do 2 single crochet on each of the 6 stitches. So at the end of the round, you're going to have like 12 stitches. 1, and 2. Into the next chain, 1 and 2. Now, making amigurumi toys needs a little tighter tension. So make sure that your stitches are really tight. One and 2. 1 and 2. Now remove your marker. So this was the 6th chain. On top of that, I'm going to do 2 more. So now if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Now place your stitch marker onto the 12th chain. We're going to increase in the next step or the next round. So we have like 12 stitches. We're going to increase each time with 6 more stitches. So into the next one, so this we had 12 in a round. Now we can have 6 more, so it's going to be 18. So to have 18 stitches, into the next stitch you're going to do 1 single crochet, and into the next one you're going to have 2 single crochets onto the same stitch. Into the next single crochet, 1 single crochet, into the next single crochet, make 2. Remember, in this step or in this round, we're going to have 1 single crochet onto 1, 2 onto 1, 1 onto 1, and 2 onto 1. So this is how you're going to work the whole round, and I'll meet you at the end. If you have done everything correctly or counted all your stitches, onto the stitch marker or the single crochet on which we had the stitch marker, we're going to have 2 single crochets. Now if you count your stitches, you're going to have 18 stitches. Now take in your marker and just put it on the last chain or the last stitch. Now in this previous round we had 18 stitches, so now we're going to increase by 6, which means that we're going to have 24 stitches in the next round. So for that I'm going to do a single crochet onto the next stitch, a single crochet onto the next stitch, and onto the next stitch we're going to do 2 single crochet, a single crochet onto the next stitch, a single crochet onto the next stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the next one. So unlike the previous row, we're going to have 1 single, 1 single, and 2 doubles, 1 single, 1 single, and 2 double single crochet. So complete this round in this way, and if you'll mark onto the stitch on which we had the stitch marker, you will be putting on 2 single crochet. So now onto the stitch marker stitch, I just removed mine. I'm going to do 2 singles, and immediately I'm going to put in my marker. Now if you count your number of stitches, you're going to have 24 of them. Now this row is going to be the last increasing row. So we had 24 stitches, so if we add 6, we will be having 30 more. So in this next round, what we're going to do is we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet onto the next stitch, and what we are now going to do is we're going to do 1 more single crochet onto the next stitch, so 3 singles, and onto the next stitch we're going to have 2 single crochet. Exactly like this. So into the next one, 1 single crochet, onto the next one, another single crochet, into the next one, another single crochet, and into the next one, 2 single crochet. Just like that. So we continue doing this all the way around, and I'll meet you at the stitch marker. Now once you are at the stitch marker, remove it out and then do 2 single crochet on it. Immediately put in your marker to the last stitch. Now if you count the number of stitches, you're going to have exactly 30 stitches. Now the increasing rows are done. We have 30 stitches. We're going to continue with 30 stitches for the next 6 rounds. So like this was the first round, second round, third, fourth, and fifth round. So 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. For the next 6 rounds, you're going to have only 30 stitches. You're going to continue with 30 stitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to have one single crochet on top of each single crochet until you have 30 stitches or you have completed your round. Make sure you have a good tight tension. This tends to move when you're doing it, it tends to move towards you, but always make sure that you're just dropping it down. So you finish 30 stitches and I meet you in the end. Now at the end, you're going to remove your stitch marker, and then at the end of this round, you're going to have 30 stitches. Immediately put back your stitch marker. So you're going to repeat this round for the next 5 rounds. So this was the first round and now we're going to do it for the next 5 rounds. So you finish that off and I'll meet you at the end. Now we have completed those 6 stitches. So the first round was 6, the second round was 12, the third was 18, the fourth one was 24, and then the next one was 30. So the 6 stitches of 30 and the last one counts as the 7th number of rows in which we have done only 30 stitches each. So now it comes to the part where we are going to decrease the circumference or to decrease the rounds. So we are going to do the exact same thing. Yeah, in here we increased till 30. Now we are going to decrease till we have 6 stitches. So this is the point where you need to have a very tight tension, because if you don't have the tight tension, it will show in between the stitches and that won't look good. So now let's start with the next row. So the next row consists of decreasing the stitches, and I'm going to show you how you're going to do it. So we have 30 stitches and now we're going to decrease it so that we have 24, which means that we have to decrease it by 6 number of stitches. So let's start. Chain 1. Do a single crochet in the next stitch, another single crochet in the next stitch, another single crochet in the next stitch. So 3 single crochet onto the next 3 single crochets. Okay, now here we're going to decrease. If you watch carefully, go inside the single crochet, pull up a loop, again go into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all of those 3 loops. So we decreased 2 stitches. Again we're going to do a single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into the next stitch, and a single crochet into the next stitch. So 3 single crochets onto the next 3 stitches, and then we are going to decrease. Again into the next one, you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all of them, and now we have decreased 2 stitches to 1. So you're going to continue doing this all the way across until I meet you at the end of the round. Now if you look carefully, I'm at the very end set. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2, and a single crochet, 3. Now if you look closely, before the stitch marker we have 2 loops. So you need to remove the stitch marker, and we're going to now decrease these 2 stitches. Go into the first one, pull up a loop, go into the last stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn around and go through all of them. Okay, so now put your stitch marker right here. Now if you go through the stitches, you will have exactly 24 stitches. So again we are going to decrease the number of stitches by 6. So we're going to start off into the next single crochet, 1 single crochet, again I'm doing it, into the next one, another single crochet, and now we're going to decrease 1 and 2, and then pull up a loop and go through all of them. Again 1 single crochet, second single crochet, and then you're going to decrease. So previously we were doing like 3 stitches and then a decrease. Now we are doing 2 stitches and a decrease. Now at this point here you have to be very careful. What I have to do here is, if your rattle ball is not very small, or if it's too big, what I'm going to do is, you can always put the tail end into here. I will check if I can put it inside, because if I close it more, this won't go inside. So at this point I'm going to stuff it halfway across. So what I will do is, I will take some of my fiber fill, just a second. I'm going to take some of my fiber fill, just a little bit, put some inside, put my ball inside, my DIY rattle ball, and at this point let me just keep it holding, okay, so that if I if I close it more, I can have enough space to put on or put in my fiber fill more. Now if you have trouble holding your ball together, let me just see if I can just close a little bit more. Adjust it according to your whatever you do, you make it adjustable so that this ball is easily getting into it. So again I'm going to go through the next stitch, 1 stitch, second stitch, and then I'm going to decrease a stitch. Again 1 more stitch, another one, and into the next one, decrease. Again 1 single crochet, another single crochet into the next, and then you have to decrease. Again a single crochet, a single crochet, and then if you see, we have 2 stitches left. So here I'm going to remove my thread, my stitch marker, and then I'm going to decrease my stitches. Put in your stitch marker. I'm going to see if this can go inside. Yes, now it most certainly can. And what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to add more fiber fill. Yeah. You can hear the sound, right? Now into the next row, I'm going to decrease by 6 more stitches again. So we had like 24 stitches, and in this round we gained 18 stitches. So in this round what we're going to do is, we're going to go into the first stitch and make a single crochet, and then into the next stitch right here, what we're going to do is, we're going to decrease a stitch, so that ultimately what we're going to have is, if we continue, a single crochet and a decrease, a single crochet and 2 stitches decrease, we are going to have 12 stitches in this. So I'm going to do this off camera, you finish it off, and I'll meet you at the end. Alright, now this is going to be the second last row of our amigurumi head of our toy. If you need to fill up more fiber fill into your piece, you can do it at this point, because after that it's going to be fairly difficult for you to work it out. So now at this point we are left with only 12 stitches. So we're going to close it down to 6. So this is going to be the most difficult one. So you have to watch very carefully. I'm going to go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, into the next stitch and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to decrease again into the next stitch, pull up a loop, into the next stitch, pull up another loop. Hold your tension tight and then go through all of your stitches. Go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then decrease this one. Go through the next one and the next one, and then pull up through all, and then I'm going to go into the very next one and the next one, and then decrease. You see how I'm holding my hook now? I always hold my hook in this way, but because it's so tight and I want that to be tighter, so into the last 2 stitches, that's why I'm holding my hook in this way. Pull up into the last stitch, pull up a loop, and go through all of them. Now see, I still have a little bit of this. So here comes the time when I'm going to cut this, close my pull. If you still think that your piece is a little squishy, you can always add a little bit more, but you're going to have some problem putting it inside. But I like to do it by using the back side of my crochet hook. In this way. If you think that you need a little bit of more fiber fill inside your squishy little head, okay, it's still making a beautiful noise. And now I'm going to close this off using my yarn needle. Now I have my yarn needle attached. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle, go through. I'm going to just crisscross it and stitch it up in this way. And now we can just add in a knot. And go through in any direction and come off right here. Now leave this thread off because it's going to help in attaching it to the other parts of my pieces. Okay, so now this is how you do the head of the Amigurumi toy baby. Okay. In order to make the eyes, you need to count from the top of the stitch. So if this was round 1, we're going to count our round 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8th round. Now we're going to make the eyes from on the 8th and the 9th row. If you want, you can also go a little bit down as you wish, but I would like to do it right here. So I'm going to mark my nail right here. I'm going to go with my needle onto the very top and then come out onto round 8. So now this one that you see here, it's going to hide because of the cap that we're going to make later on. But for now, we're going to stick to here. So I want drooping eyes. So what I'm going to do is, I have my eyes coming out right here. I'm going to go down 1 row in an angle in this way, right? So I'm going to stitch my eyes. If you want, you can always add ready-made eyes. But as I told you earlier, I don't want to do that because I don't want the baby to chew on the eye. Now go underneath the same thread and turn this way. Go underneath the thread and make it a little bit wider. If you want, you can always go for single stitches. That's completely up to you. Whatever way you want to make the face, you can always do it. Now, once this is done, once this has just widened a little bit, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to stitch right here and I'm going to come up in this way. Okay, now I have one sleepy eye. I'm going to make an eyelash. In this way, and then another one of those eyelashes. So I'm just checking how I want the eye to look in this way. Now my second eye is going to be right here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to stitch it here and I'm going to go and come right here. See? That's one pretty eye. Now this one also I had made the complete same way, just that I had left a little bit of room here and had made it wider. It's completely up to you how you want your eye to be. I'm going to finish this one exactly the same way and I'm going to come and show you how you can add those little drops of blushes on. Now what I would like to do is, to give it some blush, I would like to take my blusher. I'm going to take a little bit on my finger, exactly in this way. And in here, I'm going to give a little bit of a shading. Not much, just a little bit. It gives it a really natural look. If you want, you can also use a brush, but I like it this way. Yeah. Now if you'd like, you can always go for a mouth. Take a pink thread and you can just add a pretty mouth over here. But I don't like it. I like to have my sleepy baby toy exactly in this way. So this is how my head looks.